But I believe that by overwhelming majority, you and I, in the long run, and if it be necessary, you and I will act together to protect, to defend, by every means at our command.
Right guys, so you saw the intro, you saw the intriguing nature of me using the Purge and mud floods and mudslides, and hopefully you got how I was trying to portray it in regard to splitting the wording up, the etymology of the word cleanse. Because when you look at the word cleanse, it means to make clean, it means to purge, it means to purify, it means to chasten or chasten, and to justify. Some of these wordings, to purge and to and to purify, seem resetty, if that is a word. Did I just make a word up? Sound resetty, don't they? And in the eye of evil entity or cabal, is this what happened? Because as soon as you mention mud, most of the people in the community will think, oh, mud flood, resets. And that's where I was trying to get at in the video, just to build it slightly until I got to this, because I did a video about 4 years ago. Yep, another old video, guys. And basically the video was called Mud Flood Reset, One God's Cleanse, One Man's Purge, Another Man's Purge. Because obviously cleanse means to purge. And I was just blown away when I just did this in Latin. So as you can see, mud in English means lutum. So, it doesn't sound too much. Well, yeah, lutum. But when you start looking at it a little bit deeper and find other roots of lutum being in other languages, the base, the root of it, you get things like lut means to wash. Obviously, you've got lutum, which means, as I've read out, it means mud, dirt, filth, soil, dirt, myrrh, as you can see. Soil, dirt, myrrh, or mire, and mud. So you're like, wow. So we're talking about lutum being soil, dirt, myrrh, and also means to cleanse. So when we're looking at translations of lutum into other languages like Portuguese, luto, which stems from lutum and lute. It means
mourning,
mourning. It means
grief,
grief. So these words are associated with luto, and luto means mourning, grief. Are they talking about an event with mud that happened, and we are now
mourning,
in mourning? We are showing
grief,
of an event, of a reset. Wow. What do you guys think? I found this a few years ago, and I found it interesting because there's many channels out there that talk about mud flood resets and do videos on it, and you can't use it as an example because, you know, I don't look as much on YouTube channel people making all these videos because I don't have time. So I'm assuming there's not many videos on the etymology of mud flood, but more on the effects of the mud flood. So when you start going to the converter and I'm putting flood in, you get luto inundatio, which obviously is inundation, and you know, it stems from inundation. Inundation talks about an overwhelming abundance of people or things. Flooding. Inundatio, noun, inundatio. Third declension, is that how you say it? Inundation, an overflowing flood, by extension, a crowd of people. So they're talking of a reset that happened, that was used to cleanse, was used to purge. Was it used to chasten or justify? What justification did they get? Was this divine? Was this Mother Earth? Is this ancient advanced tech used to basically liquidate the soil and to cause these types of effects, wiping out huge populations of the world? Or is it just a part of the system to get layers? Who knows? But I just found this fascinating that these words are coming from cleanse and coming from mud. See what you guys think. I'm blown away, and this is 4 years ago, and I came across it again as I'm just going through old stuff, seeing should I put the full video up on the channel or do just these one Pacific Point videos for people. This blew me away. Mud flood, talking about to cleanse, to purge. You can't make this shit up, as I say. Isn't it ironic that we're using like these Dead Sea mud masks to make ourselves more beautiful and to cleanse our skin? And you see the etymology of what it means and where it comes from. It's crazy, isn't it? It just shows you right there. Mud masks, cleaning the face, cleansing, purging of your dead basically cells. I mean, we even find it in religion. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. You also find in other cultures and religions. Take this one, as you can see on the screen. Prometheus basically shaped man out of mud, and Athena, just like the Christian one, breathed life into the clay figures. So you see it a lot in different cultures, and that's what intrigues me. They all are saying basically the same. I've smeared in here. A god was actually killed, and his body and blood were basically mixed with clay. From that material was created, as we know, the first human being. You have it in Egypt. Khnum, the god of creation, was called the potter god because he gave life to living beings by shaping clay. You have Chinese, so you see this all around this realm. Nuwa created mankind in two different origin myths. Once by shaping people out of clay, mud, dirt, and once by repopulating the world after a flood. What's that telling you? You also have the myth about earth divers. The earth diver is a common character in various traditional creation myths. In these stories, a supreme high being usually sends an animal into the primal waters to find bits of sand or mud which to build habitable land. Some scholars interpret this myths psychologically, while others interpret them cosmologically. In both cases, emphasis is placed on beginnings emanating from the depths. Earth diamond myths are common in Native American folklore, but can be found among the Choki or the Yukihir, what I call the Tatars, but the Tatars, and many other Finno-Ugric traditions. The pattern of distribution of these stories suggests that they have a common origin in the eastern Asiatic coastal region, spreading as migrated west into Siberia and east to the North American continent. So you can see a few there showing you about us being created out of mud, clay, dust. You also have the same type of references in the Quran about humans being created out of water and clay, and obviously in dirt becoming mud. So you have these in basically near enough all of these creation stories and civilization and cultures. Now you have to ask yourself, why are they all using the same playbook? There must be a reason. Is it a scripted reality? Has some entity, some cabal said, right, this is where and what you're saying you are being created from? Or is it basically just what happened? I mean, when we see images like this of the people, the mud people, they're wearing the masks, they're basically caked in mud, it just gets me thinking, did they get this idea from oral tradition, basically saying they were created from mud, or did this reset, did this cleansing, did this purging happened? Has it happened just the once, or has it happened multiple times that people survive? And basically, if this huge reset, this purging, this cleansing of the earth happened, and people survived and walked out of a mud pit or a mud river looking like this and far worse, what would people who survived on high ground think? Did they actually think these were being created from God or what? So these are just things that we have to think about it. But when you start to think about all these religions and cultures basically having the same type of playbook, you have to ask yourself, is this forced narrative, or did something like this happen? And are these examples of these happening, obviously these people around the world caking themselves in mud, or did, like this image what was showing you last on the screen, people clambering out of the ground, maybe from underground bases, as you call them dumbs these days, but a lot of cultures people lived under the ground. Was it a case of these people coming out after a reset from being underground? So there's loads of ways that you can look at it. Some of them I've not even mentioned, but it was just to make a point. Like, why all this scripted? Did it happen? Is it a false narrative? Is it his story again at its finest, or did it happen? And these are just references of this event happening, being changed to fit a narrative that they wanted to portray. Right, guys?
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. They call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome to What the Flock TV. Ta-da! Right, guys, it's only going to be a short video this week, just making this point. I want to start making a few videos just highlighting one major point. And this week, again, I'm looking back at old videos and thinking, you know what, it's time to get some of these points back out, because a lot of people forgot them, even myself, because we make so much content, so much thoughts goes into everything that we forget. So this is what this is. A quick short video highlighting this point that I've made in this video. So like always, I want to say a big thank you for everyone who showed me love and support by liking, sharing, subscribing and commenting. Truly, you make people feel welcomed in this reality. And without you guys' strength, it does get to us creators, so we need it. For anyone who has bought me a coffee, again guys, my heart goes out. Thank you, just thank you. It's really helping me and the channel, and I just want to say a big thank you to you guys. And if anyone else does want to donate, please just go to the link in the description. It's one of these places down there, just click it and it's as easy as that. So a big thank you for everyone that's helped by either just liking, sharing and subscribing, getting my name about, telling people, check this channel out. I would love to say it's worked because we're being YouTubed and the sub count is not going up, so it hasn't done really much for about over a year, but I know you guys have my back because I see you all in the chats, in the descriptions and things, and you truly humble me. So again, thank you. And the reason I always say thank you is because you guys are basically the foundations for everyone's channel, because without people watching your content, interacting, there wouldn't be anything. So give yourself a pat on the back or whatever you want to do, but thank you. So I made an old video talking about mud floods because it's a big topic, and when we look in the community, you generally see them showing them pictures and evidence of this event happening. Look at the buildings underneath the ground level, and you see so much, yet no one I say those last words, but I hardly see anyone, there will be some obviously, but actually talking about the etymology of the word mud flood. Why is that used? And 4 years ago, maybe, if I remember, I did the video about, one God's cleanse is another man's purge, basically showing you how the etymology of that word talks about, obviously, to cleanse, to purge, to purify, and you know what I mean. So you have to think, is this a scripted reality? Because as I was saying towards the end of the quick video, because it's not going well into loads of details, but it's just showing you that a lot of these religions and cultures talk about how we came from mud, dirt. Is that them getting in a narrative and sticking to that playbook? That is why A to Z talk about mud, dirt, water with humans. It's, you know what I mean? So you have to look at it and think, you know what? There's something to this. They're either, like I was saying, it's either a scripted playbook or the event happened. Or both. The event happened, so the scripted reality to fit their narrative. Whatever way we want to look at it, we can see evidence for this. And most cultures, even science, do agree on a major flood. Now, how many there has been, you would be theorizing, and a lot of people have time frames on when these type of things happen. But it's intriguing that this sentence, mud flood, basically talks about to cleanse, to purge, and that's why I put the images of the film Purge, because we have to look at it in the sense of, is this a divine intervention, cleaning house? Is this Mother Nature? Is this divine using Mother Nature, or is this just a process Mother Nature, the earth, has to clean herself, to cleanse herself? Or is it advanced technology being used by the cabal to geoengineer and also get a huge super liquefaction type of event, or all of the above? So that's just intriguing. And when you start looking at the etymology like I do, because I've problems reading it, and so I always want to say, well, if I'm problems, why do I have problems reading? Is it the fact that it's something in me is wired wrong or wired rightly? Because I've always talked about how could it be a divine influence that people who cannot read are fighting back from the spells. There's so many ways that you can look at it. And the mud flood topic with Tartary is huge, and I don't believe in regard to what people believe it is, but we're all entitled to our own opinions, and I've made videos on them, and I don't hide behind it, but I still like to ask myself these questions. So 4 years ago, when I was looking at mud flood a little bit in more detail, I asked myself, what does mud flood actually mean? So obviously lutum is one of the best words in Latin for mud, and then you had inundatio, which was the flooding, and inundation meaning a lot of. And it's just wow when you're talking, and other words like luto from Portuguese is based the root on luto and lute and lutum. And obviously there's a lyre and a lute type of musical instrument. But we're talking about a wording and an event, mud flood, and it's talking about to cleanse, to purge. And I don't think that is not talked about enough. Yes, oh, look at this architecture. Oh, look at this. All these events stage and the levels of this realm. There's so many levels, and you're carrying on because they've been flooded over, or the mud flood or liquefaction that it sank. And when you look at the word with the mud being to cleanse, to purge, to purify, to chasten, whatever way you want to pronounce it, that to me is a big red flag, in the sense of they're telling you in the spell. So there's always, you got to look at it. I mean, I've talked about many times in my old videos as well about a thing called the device, and they labelled it AEIOU as a device. But was it a physical device? Was it a spoken spell? Was it nothing? Was it just a monogram? Because we have to be honest and say, we really don't know. But if they've got tech to do this, because it might be a natural process to regurgitate and recycle the earth in regard to, like I said, I'm no soil expert, and I know we have different layers, and do you get only so many types of when you plant stuff, the soil only lasts so long before it's rubbish. So is these resets a natural process of recycling the ground? And thus, because it's a problem, because if humans etc. are living on these locations, because I don't believe it's everywhere, but I believe it's certain locations all around the world who do get this major mud floods, and that obviously it's to do with the soil and different things. But if you're living on these points, obviously you're going to get trapped in it. Or is it a divine intervention? Is it a cabal intervention? There's so many ways you can look at it, but it doesn't go away from the fact that these spells from mud flood basically talk about to purge, to purify, and the ironic nature that people nowadays, to stay beautiful, are putting mud packs and different types of facial stuff on their face to keep young, to clean off the dead skin cells. The irony of that. I mean, do they see these purges, Mother Nature or divine or cabal, as a purification, like a baptism? You know what I mean? Is this another reason why we have maritime law? Because of the flooding, the mud flooding, and it's called the Holy See. You know what I mean? There's so many things that we have to look at this, and like I said, I want to keep some of these videos short and just to the point, to show, hey, people are intrigued in mud flood, Tartaria. Doesn't, if you're not, it's cool, but have a look at the wording that is being used in it. Why is that being used? And now we're talking of a huge topic in mud flood, and it means to purge, to make clean, to chasten, and to justify. You have to go, that's intriguing. And then if you look at things that are a little bit different like this, topics that some may not enjoy, may enjoy you finding these spells hidden in this wording. Because most religions have a creation of us coming from dirt or mud. And like I was saying in the video, is this because of an event happening? One of these cleanses, these purges, and people got caught in it. Obviously a lot of people died, but some people survived, and they're climbing out of whatever is the aftermath, and people that's lived on serious high ground, or they're out of the way, they're not on these zones, seeing, oh wow, is this a creation from God? These mud people, were these people living underground, and everything was trapped off the earth, so they had to climb out? I don't know. These are just me thinking on the spot in this video and what other people have said. It's intriguing, isn't it? Because we've all these so-called Elshites have these dumbs, and then there's loads of ancient dumbs out there. Was this a safeguard for this process on earth that constantly happens? The cycle. to rejuvenate. For instance, you know, we talk about hurricanes, you know, we talk about the pressure between hot and cold, but if you think about it, and this is for a wide, broad-ranging description now, if we do live in an enclosed environment, you would need the earth to circulate. What better way to circulate and having a process of these hurricanes to swirl it all about and mix it all around? And is this the same process that's happening on land, shedding the dead skin? And it's just one of those things that people are living on these spots. Because I used to metal detect when I had more time. I used to a lot of things, and I found ancient coins, you name it, loads of stuff, and it wasn't deep. So, and yes, I know about, obviously, if you're on farmers' fields, when they till the land and they use the ploughs, that does bring things to the surface, but it only brings things to the surface from so deep. So when we're talking like 1,000-year-old coin, and it's just like that, and it's not on farmland, it's like, well, you're only talking that much of a layer. So I believe in some locations the layers ain't deep. And in previous videos I've talked about the hourglass shape tempest fugit, on how these resets seem to put level on level, and which way are we, at the top or are we in the middle? And the process of this liquefaction type of event sifts things down. It's just, these are just thoughts, but when I was clicking on all videos thinking, oh wow, I don't remember making that, and I'm listening to myself and seeing the production side of how I made it, and I'm like, oh oh my god. So I saw it and I thought, wow, mud flood, talking about to cleanse, to purge, to clean, to make clean. Is this, or who is this process doing this? And it just seems funny that then all these major religions and cultures talk about the same type of event, and then that makes me think, if everyone is talking about it, there's only so many possibilities then of, yes, it happened, or it is a staged playbook, meaning the word has gone out to please state all these, because they're all too similar. So you have a staged event, a staged playbook. Yes, you have to say this and this and this. This is, for oral tradition. Yes, we all came from dust. Or, as I've said in the video, there's only so many possibilities. Or it happened, and this is a way of describing it, of what happened, into creation stories. The fact that some people would have survived, like we always do. Some people always seem to find a way. We're climbing out of mud. Oh, God created them out of mud. You know what I mean? It's a type of a thing that would get you freaking out and praying to God when you're seeing the ground around you disappear or flooding happen. But we have to ask those questions. Are they all of the above, in the sense of divine intervention, ancient tech, cabal intervention, Mother Nature just doing a cycle, or it's something that we've not even talked about? It's intriguing, isn't it? And that's all I want in my videos. I don't want to prove a point, I don't want to say it's fact, because it isn't. It's just my opinions, and it's funny how much opinions make people triggered. But this topic is huge in regards to mudfloods and Tartaria. Whether you believe it's a psyop, a lot of people do now, and a lot of people believe it's not what people believe it is, and I'm in that camp. But you can see the evidence for everything around you. But then when you start looking at the spells behind it in regard to the spell etymology and the etymology, it's talking about to cleanse, to purge, to purify. Wow. So are these people, or gods, or God, purifying something so heinous on land? Or is it a part of the cycle? You know, you have to think like this. I mean, in other videos I've talked about star thoughts and the connection to liquefaction. You know, I mean, the energy in structures and points being built on this realm. Because think about it, we're just like people, you know, when they have acupuncture points, and I've talked about this many times, on land you have ley lines, but I call them lie lines etymology wise. And obviously, you know, similar type of event of the star forts built in locations to stop or to create these types of events: liquefaction, mud floods, serious flooding. I mean, now we have the spell casting of climate change, and what that's doing, you know, we're overdue an ice age, we're not overdue an ice age, this is this and that, you know what I mean? So we're getting so much information thrown at us, people don't know their arse from their elbow. But I just like to look at my old videos and come up with points like I found in this video. Wow, mud flood. It's talking about to cleanse, to purify, to purge. Then you automatically think of those films of purging. You get 1 night, 2 nights, or whatever it is. It's been a while since I've watched the first one. I've not watched the rest of them. So, you know, I can't go into detail on a program. People are probably tuning in and think, Paul's talking about the films, the Purge. No. But that was just a play with words. But think about it. Is this like an ancient purge? Like that? Of, right, you get this time limit and that's what happens. So that's why I included that, guys. And hopefully you can see that. And enjoy me making these shorter videos in regards to just 1-2 major points. And then obviously, you know, if you guys... you know, you can pass it, share it around a bit easier if you like it, if it makes sense. I mean, we're talking about a mud flood here, and everything intrigues me, but when we start looking at the spells behind it, and obviously these are just my opinions, and those spells that came from mud flood, you have to go, wow. Now that makes this topic so much, yes, intriguing, shocked, scared of what is going on. How are these purges created? Why are these purges, these cleansing? Is it natural? Is it divine? Is it evil? So it does has its plus points and positive points on why you're learning something new and it's hidden once it gets exposed. But these things need people to take about the point and share it about. Again, I've made this 4 years ago. And then how many of us, including myself, because I've not like promoted enough or talked about this enough, because I forget, because I've found so many talking points. So think about it. Next time someone says, hey, are you into mud flood? And you go, yeah, no, you know, whatever way you slide of the coin, the tip, you know, the flip of the coin. But then you turn around and say, hey, did you know mud flood, etymology wise in Latin, etc., means to purge, to cleanse? Wow, does it? Now that does make more sense now of why it happens. It's like a light bulb moment to, isn't it? You know what I mean? So that is what intrigues me. That moment now, we now think, well, people talking about flood, and it's talking about to purge. That light bulb does happen to me occasionally, and this is just an old one that I forgot about. My bad. But yeah, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this little video on the Purge. Hopefully it might have been nothing completely to do with the actual film series of, you know, but this is a huge topic, and I believe once you start to talk about the mud flood in a different way in regard to it being a purge, a cleansing process, you know, to purify this earth. I mean, what I used to think all the religions, cultures talk about this happening. Wow. I mean, you can talk about whether they think it's a ritual cleansing in the sense of cleaning house. When did these happen? How many of them have happened? Who is behind it? All these things are questions for another day and for you to answer in the comments or in your head. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little video on the Purge in regard to mud flood being to clean, to cleanse, to purify. Now that makes sense now when people talk about mud flood and the devastation of that. Right, guys, so please like, share and subscribe. And if you want to donate, please hit the link in the description. you truly are helping me and the channel. Much love. Remember, always wear a smile, do one good deed a day, and again, thank you for the love and support. Bye guys.